Hi everyone. This is an urgent message for the LEAP community, for the tens of thousands of you who signed the LEAP manifesto and endorsed its bold vision for a rapid transition to 100% renewable energy with social and economic justice at the center of the transition. This is a vision that was drafted by dozens of leaders of movements. It has been endorsed by hundreds of organizations, and we need to be talking about it right now because we just heard from our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, fresh out of this emergency summit, this summit that had to happen. He rushed back from South America because of this apparent crisis, which is that a Texas oil company, Kinder Morgan, announced that it was going to suspend all non-essential work on the TransMountain pipeline expansion, this tripling of this pipeline carrying Alberta bitumen to the coast, which is actually great news. It represents a huge victory for popular movements led by Indigenous people who have been working for years against this project. But what Kinder Morgan did is say that it was suspending all work until it was able to see a path where it didn't have any risk for its shareholders. So this company has its hands out. What it wants is taxpayer money from Alberta, from the federal government that eliminates its private risk and offloads that risk onto taxpayers. This is a very familiar tactic from oil companies. They are very good at externalizing their risk, at socializing their risk as they privatize their profits. They do it with climate change. They do it with environmental disasters. We pay the price for their risk, and now they're saying they don't even want to pay to build their own projects. They want taxpayers to take this on board. Now, I just want to send this real quick message because I think this is a moment where this community of people who endorsed the LEAP manifesto really needs to speak up. We need to make our voices heard in this absurd moment when we are seriously talking about, in 2018, spending billions in taxpayer money to build a climate destabilizing pipeline. We heard from Justin Trudeau a couple of key talking points, one we've heard many times before. One, that Canadians don't have to choose between the environment and the economy. And we also heard about the urgent need to diversify our economy so that we are not dependent on a single source. And he was talking about Donald Trump and these veiled comments about how unstable it was to be dependent on the United States. Now, of course, we agree with both of those messages. The whole reason why we launched the LEAP manifesto was because the price of oil had just collapsed from $100 a barrel to $50 a barrel, and Canadians were seeing just how dangerous it is to bet the farm on a single volatile economy. What the LEAP manifesto is a blueprint to diversify our economy and to not have to choose between the environment and the economy. Indeed, to create hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of jobs in green energy, in efficiency, in public transit, in the care economy that is already low carbon, in nursing, in teaching, in all of these professions that are under attack by the logic of economic austerity. That's what the LEAP manifesto is. So it is possible to achieve the goals that Justin Trudeau laid out, but it is not possible to do it by doubling down on the fossil fuel economy and putting more taxpayer money on the line. So we are in this incredible moment now where they're seriously talking about spending public money on this project. And that is a moment where we need to intervene. And we need to say, if you're going to spend public money on energy in 2018, that's got to be renewable energy. You know, when we had these debates in the past, we were kind of comparing apples and oranges. We were comparing we were making the argument that you could create so many more jobs if you invest in efficiency, if you invest in renewables, if you invest in transit, than if you spend that money on oil and gas. But usually it was the private sector that was putting billions of dollars on the table to invest in oil and gas. And we were talking about spending taxpayer money to transition us to the next economy. But now we're having a very different debate. The private sector is fleeing, and we're talking about spending public sector money on the oil economy. So we really need you in this moment to make your voices heard to your local MPs, to your local newspapers and various media outlets, and really amplify the vision of the LEAP manifesto in any way you choose to do it. We don't care if you use the words LEAP manifesto. We know they can be controversial. What matters is that we have a serious debate about what we're spending public money on in this moment. And there is a way to achieve these goals, But we cannot do it by violating Indigenous rights, by pushing projects that are against the express wishes of Indigenous people. I was on Burnaby Mountain last weekend, and I was standing with Grand Chief Stuart Phillip and half the executive of the Union of BC Indian Chiefs who were ready to get arrested because they are so opposed to this project. It is a lie that it has Indigenous consent. So now is the moment to make our voices heard. And we also really need your support for the LEAP, for our organization that exists to amplify these messages and get out there in the media and try to correct the narrative. It's a lot of work because there are a lot of lies floating around. So we really need your support, and we need you to make your voices heard. Thanks so much.